Maximize your potential and focus on your performance. Look into your future and power up your purpose. Power people, let's change our mindset, people. Let's empower people to see all their potential when they power up and make your official. Maximize your performance and focus on your potential. Look into your future and power up your purpose.
Welcome to the Power Up Show, Maximize Your Potential, where innovation meets transformation. And here you have one goal. And what's that, Cheryl?
That's to power up.
Well, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Eric.
And I'm Cheryl.
And we are excited to be here on EM-Spire Magazine, DreamSpire TV with you today because we have an incredible guest who will join us today. Candace Huff. She's a business consultant and speaker who has held various leadership positions in different industries. Today, we're going to have an opportunity to chat with her today about all things related to leadership, especially during these turbulent times. And we're also going to touch up on some other interesting things that she has on the horizon. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss what we have in store after the break.
5th Annual Perfect Pitch Competition. Brought to you by Connectory and EM-Spire Magazine. Showcase your business to a national audience of a network with over 100,000 combined reach. Win cash prizes valued at over $5,000. Plus get featured on the cover of an international publication, EM-Spire Magazine. Entry deadline is October 20th, 2020. Virtual live broadcast November 14th from 10 to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you connect with us. We're looking forward to you being pitch perfect.
Welcome back to the Power Up Show, Maximize Your Potential with Cheryl and Eric. Be sure to like us on Facebook at Power Up Maximize Your Potential. There you can check out the tip of the week, our Power Up posts that include motivational tips and best practices, and some other tips to help you maximize your potential. You can also check out the recent shows that we've had or for some of our amazing guests doing some amazing things.
You know, we have had some really amazing guests. We have had the opportunity to speak to a lot of individuals that have helped a lot of businesses, and I'm equally excited because our amazing guest today, Miss Candace Huff, and I'm going to read her bio. Candace has owned and operated a full-service multicultural salon for over 20 years in the downtown Indianapolis area. She is also a speaker, a business consultant, and presently a VP at Chase Bank. And you know what I love is that she inspires business owners to think beyond the chair. That is the premise of what she does. She's also received her bachelor's in business management and a master's in organizational leadership. She is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority and Alpha Mu Omega $1 Million Investment Club. And I'm just excited to have her here.
Yeah, holy cow. This is, wow, we've got a really interesting person. Let's bring this guest in. I can't wait to talk to her.
Well, here we are. Hi.
Oh, hello.
Well, hello. It's so interesting to hear yourself being introduced in such a way. Thank you so much. I feel important.
Like, is this me? Is that me? Yeah, that's
I
cool.
don't know if you're talking about me or let me know.
We're so excited to have you on, Candace. Thank you so much for being on Power Up with us.
Thank you, Eric and Cheryl. I do appreciate the opportunity. It's my sincere pleasure to be with the two of you.
Well, you know what? We are going to dig right in because we have so much to talk to you about, and we want to make sure that we get all this information out for our business leaders and our owners and individuals that are just looking at how they can maximize their potential. And so I want to talk to you about your salon experience.
Okay.
You literally took this business from 0 to 6 figures in under 4 years. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I did. Well, one thing, Cheryl, that I can share with you is that my so actually I'm gonna go back a little bit further. I can remember being a young lady in the salon with my mother and not really understanding why stylists didn't schedule time for themselves to eat, to take a break, or to just have some downtime, to maybe just take a little bit of time to sit and regroup for a little while. And understanding when I did get into the business why that was, but the mentality of it always really challenged me. And I would listen to my mother and the ladies who were being styled by different stylists in the salon. And of course, my young ears picked up on all of these things. And again, like I can remember as young as 10 years old and listening to the chatter of not really being critical, but not really understanding why they would then have to be in the salon for so many hours, or why they couldn't take a break before they got there, after they left. So things happen, right, throughout the course of the day. The best well-laid intentions sometimes just tend to go awry, and we all know that, whether that's in the corporate arena, whether you're self-employed, or whether you're just working, as an essential worker, as a lot of us are. But with that, I decided that when I received my license, which was in high school, so I graduated with my cosmetology license and my diploma when I was 17 years old. Well, they still didn't send me my license until I was 18, but I still had all these different ideas in my head as to how I would interact with customers, as well as how I would leverage myself when I became self-employed and then ultimately as a business owner. So early on, I was looking at how I could develop systems and strategies to make it a better experience for the customer because of things that I had been learning so early on in my little life.
You said something that struck to me, and that systems and processes.
Absolutely. I've been, again, I can go back as far as late teens, early 20s, as far as how to do things well in a more organized way. I can remember being in grade school and school. I was just that kid who was a nerd, right? We can admit it. So I was the kid that always had her desk organized in such a way, and you can, right now there's some papers, but they're stacked in a way that I know how I'm going to approach it, and when I'm actually going to attack this particular thing. I've got a to-do list. I can remember having a notepad and taking notes, just again from early on. So it's in my DNA. As to how I've approached things throughout my life. And it's actually worked well for me as a result of that.
Obviously, from zero to more than 6 figures in 4 years, that is a great system.
Yeah.
Businesses.
No, I was. It's very humbling, but it's also, but it was also intentional. Is what I like to say. So. Yeah.
Now, the way you give back is literally you help businesses through consulting so that they can achieve the same level of success.
Yeah,
So,
I do.
Yep. So how do you do that? We want to know.
Well, I do that with on my birthday last year, and it was something that I've been thinking about. I was with PNC Bank. I held a vice president position with PNC Bank, as well as now with Chase. And I ran a business banking center. And one of the things that a lot of individuals who would come to me in order to open their business accounts, they didn't really have the inner workings of what to do early on. So they were asking some of those intake questions that wasn't necessarily my role. However, because I had experience and expertise in that, I didn't mind assisting the customer in that way. So everybody's just not in the same place. Everyone's not, doesn't have access to the same information. And so I made myself available to those internal customers. And then I decided, well, if this is something that a small market might need, who else really needs this information? And I specifically target salon and spa, barbershops, and nail techs because that's my area of expertise. However, I have a wide range background as far as being able to help multiple businesses. But the thinking beyond the chair is actually a metaphor for not only salons, barbers, and nail techs, but also individuals who are still maybe owner operators in their companies. And I'm not talking to my franchisee owners like McDonald's and individuals such as that. I'm actually talking to individuals who have started their own organization and they're trying to understand and maybe leverage their opportunity as to how to scale their business so that they can actually remove themselves out of the day-to-day operations. And what they'll actually find is that they'll make more money by not being behind the chair, ultimately because they've taken themselves out of the equation, if you will. And so that's what the thinking beyond the chair is. It's thinking about how to leverage your own mindset to think beyond what you do on a normal day basis as far as servicing customers, and then doing all of the things and wearing those multiple hats so that you can actually move into multiple revenue streams. And then additionally, how to scale your business, which is the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is so interesting. And I love the metaphor think beyond the chair. That is really incredible. And to me, it sounds like, you're trying to make people have that mindset of thinking, being less tactful and more strategic and being more of a visionary so you can scale your business appropriately. And that's awesome. And it's quite evident that leadership is in your DNA. I mean, you are a true student of the game. So let me ask you, what kind of leadership traits have helped you achieve the amount of success that you have right now?
Eric, I would have to say persistence, problem solving, and my entrepreneurial background, which I take with me everywhere I go. So it's not something that you are one day and you're not another day. So when it comes to the problem solving piece, again, going back to when I was a young girl and I'm in the salon with my mom and those other clients, and they are having their conversations and powwows about what's not working. Early on, I was thinking about, well, if I were to do this, how could I fix it, right? Mm-hmm. And so one thing that I can say to problem solving, though, is actually the gift of feedback. And if you are in a place mentally where you can understand that feedback is not something where people are always being critical or criticizing, that is a gift that you can utilize when it comes to surveys and how you can make the experience better for your customers and better for the environment ultimately. And that's what can leverage you in a different way. That I'll give you just a small example. I had current magazines and a candy bowl in the salon at a time when no one was really doing that. I took credit cards at a time when no one was doing that. So right now we do everything with our cell phones, and it's a beautiful opportunity for so many people to be able to achieve so many things beyond their wildest dreams. But in a time when it was not easy to have the access to the information like we do now, those are small things that I did just by printing up a survey on my printer that I had in the salon. I would ask a set of 10 questions, and it would either hit me in the gut and make me look better, or it would make me smile and it would make me feel like, okay, this is something that we're doing well. Let's keep doing that. And this is something that we're not doing so well. Let's stop doing that. So that's what's helped me as far as problem solving, feedback, and then the persistence. I had gone through the Great Recession when my business was open. And so it's not the pandemic. However, it was a very critical time. The Great Recession isn't anything to take lightly, but I actually made the most money in the year that I was dissolving my company than I had in the previous years, just because of the persistence that I had to want to move forward in my marketing efforts, how I was strategizing, again, Cheryl, going back to that word, how I was going to strategize how I would deliver my products and my services. and how I was going to utilize my team in the most effective way, because it was not only impacting businesses, but it was impacting households. So you have to think about the team of people that you have as well, and how you're going to be able to take care of them.
Wow. Wow. That is, I mean, that has some great leadership traits. It really is. I especially like the feedback part, because it's not easy to accept any kind of feedback. I mean, yeah, everyone wants to hear the good things, right? But, when it's time to really, dig deep and really get some of that feedback that you're not really, wanting to listen to, you have to be above that. You can't let your ego become your amigo. And it sounds like you have done just that. This is a great discussion. What we're gonna do is
ego.
Yeah.
Amigo. I like that.
Candace,
this is the type of thing to say.
Yeah. And, this is such a great discussion we're having. What we're going to do is we're just going to pause briefly for a quick break.
Okay.
But stay tuned to hear more from Candace Huff and how she's leading during this time of disruption. All right, welcome back, everyone. We've been talking with the Candace Huff, business consultant and speaker. Now, we were talking about, you talked about the Great Depression, Candace, and how your business, how you were able to thrive in that situation. And now we're also, we're in another situation economically where you've got this pandemic and the economy is not doing as well as it should. Let me ask you this. What kind of leadership skills have allowed you to persevere during this time of disruption?
It still goes back to being persistent. And then also recognizing that being able to stay calm in the midst of what is happening around us, because so many different people are looking at you, whether it's your children, whether it's your spouse, and then whether it's the team of individuals that might be answering to you. There's so many unknowns and uncertainties that we have right now, but being able to keep a sense of calm about ourselves, in my case, I believe has been what has kept me moving along this journey since March. Additionally, I would say that we have to continue to think strategically because of lack of leadership that we've had from those that be, and it's not a conversation so much about politics as it is that there's just so much scuffle that's going on in our ears, and there's so much information that we have access to, that you can get caught up in so much of that it gives you a sense of paralyzation. And so in wanting to move beyond that and continue to rise above, somebody has to take the bull by the horns, metaphorically speaking, so that those who need some assistance along the way can have some guidance and have some reassurance, and letting us know that it is going to be okay. We are going to get through this, and we're going to get through this together, and being able to coach individuals to those sets of circumstances, coach to the unknown, and reassure, because it's really about being as understanding as possible during this time. We've lost loved ones, those who are closest to us. They may not have had COVID, but unfortunately, the situation at hand has just placed people in a more vulnerable situation. And it also causes you to rethink what's the most important thing right now, whether that's your family, whether that's your friends, whether that's your social networks, and then how to come back together and get centered again. And I think that this has given us a time to be quiet and refocus so that when we are on the other side, which will be our new normal, not going back to normal, then we'll have some sense and frame of reference as to what we were able to do in the past so that we can continue to grow for our futures.
Wow. I really admire your mindset. That is incredible. I know Cheryl's got some questions to ask you too, so let's bring her in back into the conversation.
I do. I have to, we always look at, especially now, right? We've heard about the Me Too movement that is just, still very prevalent, even though we're in the midst of other movements and not allowing that to be forgotten about. Right. What advice do you have for emerging women that want a seat at the table?
That's a great question, Cheryl. I would say first and foremost is being intentional. Mm-hmm. I had to get serious about what I even wanted. So I was sharing with you and Eric that on my birthday is when I actually launched my brand at Candace Huff, and wanting to serve the greater good from the standpoint of how to build their businesses, which was pre-COVID. But at the same time, I had a hard look at what my skill set was and what I wanted to do. And quite honestly, when getting very intentional, I got very specific and narrowed down my top 3 things that I am excellent at and how I wanted to carry that on in whatever organization I may have been a part of that I wanted to either scale back or scale up in, and scaling in a different sense than money, but just being present, which I think is very important. I think that being diligent is very important. And so when looking at what my intentionalities were, then it was a matter of being focused and disciplined in that area to that particular craft and to that particular skill set. And at the end of the day, I always want to be authentic. I want to be true to myself. Who I am at home is who I am at work, and who I am at play, and who I am at sorority meetings, and who I am in my mastermind groups, right? So I always want to be the person that I am and be comfortable in bringing my whole self to the table.
That is so important, especially when you talked about, bringing your whole self to the table. I often talk about, what we waste. And most times, when we think about waste, it's time, talent, and resources. Yeah. And so for you to talk about, bringing your whole self, if you want a seat at the table, then this is the requirement that you're going to have to exude.
And if I could add on to that, is that imposter syndrome is a real thing. And I know that that's getting some headway right now. And that's whether you're male or female, transgender, or transsexual, whatever you might be experiencing. But imposter syndrome can make us believe that we don't deserve a seat at the table, Cheryl. And that's not how we need to view our headspace. We need to get back into the mindset that we need to remember the accomplishments that we've been able to glean throughout our lifetimes, our careers. I mean, if it was something that you were able to successfully obtain in high school, you got to start somewhere. And if that was something you were successful in high school, and you build upon that and build upon that, I tell my children all the time, I had one paper in high school my freshman year, and it became my thesis my senior year. And there was one young lady who would say to me, "You did that last year in a presentation." And I'd say, "Yeah, and I'm getting better at it every year." It was my story every single year. And I kept that because you can build upon those things, take those things. Take those successes with you, and make sure that your story isn't playing to the victim, but that your story is playing to the victor, and that you aren't an imposter. You deserve a seat at the table because, maybe you even bought the table, as the kids would say, but you deserve a seat at the table.
I think that is so important, especially now as you see, so many things birth during a recession. Multiple businesses birth. People are looking at their creative sides and they're coming up with these incredible products or services just because of the situation as to where we are. And so to be able to look at that and, like you said, utilize your skills that maybe you had in high school and understand that you deserve to be there.
Yeah, we do. We deserve it.
It's really important. It's really important.
Don't let anybody talk you out of it. Because they will. They'll talk over you. They'll talk around you. They'll take your ideas. They'll try to frame them like they're their own. And there's a delicate way, not delicate and soft, but there's a tactful way in being able to command that back to yourself. That just takes time. And I would say give yourself time, forgive yourself if you have maybe made some mistakes along the way, but just remember that your setbacks are not the greater good of who you are. That is maybe 20% of who you are. The 80% is who you project to people on a day-to-day basis.
This is amazing. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Thank you.
This is incredible.
We leave, we have a little game that we play with our guests.
Oh.
Our power up cards. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread these out, and you're literally going to pick one all the way from Indianapolis, where you are. You get to pick a card.
Okay.
So
I'm assuming that you want this one.
Okay.
That's the one I think she was looking at. Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah, so the card says, what moves you to tears or gives you goosebumps?
What moves me to tears and gives me goosebumps.
Or gives you goosebumps.
My husband gives me goosebumps.
Aw, that's so sweet. That is the main answer. It can't get any better than that. And I hope he was close enough to hear that was your response.
Right.
Don't hear a thing. It's like this conversation never happened.
Well, Candace, thank you so much for joining us here on the Power Up, Maximize Your Performance. And before you leave, are there any parting messages that you would like to leave our viewers as they are looking at how to power up and how to maximize their potential?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you and Eric again for having me. And I think that your platform is a wonderful tool and a wonderful reference where people can come to receive coaching, mentoring, writing a book, developing your leadership skills, as well as receiving tools and resources that you might not normally have the opportunity to see. So many times we can go online and we can get a little paralyzed because of so much information that's coming in. But just know that you can have a true gift within Cheryl and Eric, and they can get you to the right place and to the right resource. At the same time, I can be reached at CandaceNHuff.com, as well as on all social media platforms, including LinkedIn. So again, thank you both for this opportunity to come on and share. And then if at any time I can be a resource to the two of you, please don't hesitate to let me know.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was great.
Thank you.
Now,
this was great.
Don't you go anywhere, because we're going to close out the show and then we're going to say goodbye to you. She was amazing. That's another amazing guest that we've had.
Oh, she was so insightful. I mean, I wish I could take notes. I can't wait till this airs, because she said some really powerful things that really to help you get in the right mindset when it comes to leading and thriving in a business. I mean, she's amazing. She's amazing.
Absolutely. And so that was Miss Candace Huff, and you have heard how to get in touch with her. And so follow us. I think they need to follow us, because you never know.
Yeah.
We've got a Facebook page at Power Up, Maximize Your Potential Facebook page. So definitely join us, follow us, send us a comment, a question, something that you're interested in learning more about. Eric and I are there. The shows are going to be there. Also follow us on EM-Spire gmail.com and subscribe to DreamSpire TV's YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, if you are looking at how to advertise on the show, email us at powerupshowtv@gmail. That's long.
I think it's just right, Cheryl. I love it.
powerupshowtv@gmail.com. That's how you get in touch with Eric and myself. And so we have had an amazing time.
And remember, you've been watching the Power Up Maximize Your Potential show. So this is the place where innovation meets transformation. And you have one goal. And what's that, Cheryl?
That is to power up. Bye.